A man wakes up on a cold concrete floor with no memory of how he got there. He's disoriented and confused, but he does remember one important thing. His name is George. But why can't he remember anything else? What happened to him? How did he get here? Is anyone even going to find him? The man is lost and alone, trapped in a dark prison with no walls. Or is there? No, there is a wall. There's a basement door. But it's locked. The man tries to stand up and his legs buckle beneath him. He falls back down onto the floor and looks around. There's nothing there except some exposed electrical wires hanging from the ceiling. And then he notices something. There's a vent in the ceiling that has been removed. It's blocked by a metal grate, but he can hear water dripping from above. He knows whatever is above this room is where he needs to go. It's where he needs to escape. But first, he needs to get to the door. He crawls over and reaches for the handle, but it's locked. He tries the other side, and it's the same thing. There's a lock. It won't budge. He doesn't have a key. He kicks at the door, bangs on it, screams for help, but nobody comes. All he hears is the drip, drip, drip of the water from above. He sits down on the stairs and looks up at the vent again. There has to be another way out. He just needs to find it. He runs his fingers along the wall until he feels something, a loose brick. He pulls it out and reveals a small hole. Sticks his finger in and feels around. There's nothing there. Then he remembers when he was younger, he used to smuggle things into baseball games by hollowing out a baseball and putting small items inside. Maybe if he could make this hole bigger, he could get through it. He uses the brick to widen the hole, but it takes so long that his hands start to bleed. Pushes on, and eventually his fingers touch the other side of the wall. He crawls through the hole and finds himself in a narrow passageway. It's barely wide enough for him to fit through. He moves forward and feels his shoulder hit something hard. He turns his head and sees an old wooden box in front of him. It's nailed shut. He can feel the nails through the wood, but he doesn't care. Rips the lid off and throws it aside. Inside the box are several items. An old pair of binoculars, a compass, a flashlight, a crow skull, and a piece of paper. George picks up the paper and unfolds it. On the first page, he sees a series of numbers written in pencil. Below the numbers is a smaller message. Stay quiet. Keep your eyes open. He looks around to see if anyone is watching him. Nobody. But who wrote the note? Why? He looks back at the box and picks up the compass. It's old and rusty, but it still works. At least he hopes it does. He goes back to the passageway and follows the numbers he saw written on the paper. They lead him to another hole, which leads him into a large room. He's found another passageway, but this one isn't so dark. In fact, there's light coming from behind a partition. He moves toward it and peers around the corner. What he sees makes him jump back in surprise. There's a man standing in front of him holding a knife. George backs away slowly, keeping his eyes fixed on the man. The man lunges forward, but George is too quick for him. He runs back the way he came. Doesn't know what the man wanted, but he knows he didn't want it to be him. He turns and runs as fast as he can. He doesn't know where he's going, but he can hear the man getting closer. He can hear him breathing heavily. The sound of his footsteps pounding on the wooden floor echoes through the tunnel. George looks back and sees the man rounding the corner. He's almost there. George turns and runs into another room. He trips over something lying on the floor and falls to the ground. As he looks up, he sees the man standing over him with the knife raised high. This is it, George thinks. This is how it ends. The man brings the knife down, but he never strikes George. Instead, he slices the rope holding a tarp down, revealing a large pile of dirt underneath. The man looks at George, then back at the tarp. I don't understand, George says. The man shakes his head slowly. You don't remember me? He asks. Of course not, George replies. Who are you? I saved you, the man says. Saved me from what? George asks. The man stares at the ground, then looks back at George. It doesn't matter now, he says. You're awake. It's all that matters. The man walks away without another word. George watches him go. He really thought he was going to kill me, he says to himself. But why? What did I do? He gets up and walks over to the pile of dirt. There's something buried under there. He starts digging it out, but it's hard to move the dirt. He needs a shovel, finds one leaning against the wall and uses it to move the dirt faster. As the hole gets bigger, he can see what's inside. It's a coffin. He digs it out completely and opens it. Inside, he sees a woman lying on her back. Her hair is long and covers her face. He reaches out and moves it aside. Underneath, he sees his wife. She looks peaceful. It's like she's sleeping. Was that really her? He doesn't know. He feels something wet trickle down his face. Is he crying? He doesn't know. He doesn't remember ever crying before. He closes the coffin and leans against it. He's exhausted and just wants to lie down. He closes his eyes and drifts off to sleep. When he wakes up again, he's lying on a soft bed. He sits up and sees his wife standing next to him. "Are you okay, George?" she asks. He nods, but he doesn't say anything. He looks around and sees he's in their bedroom. Did he dream the whole thing? He looks back at his wife and she holds out her hand. "Come on," she says. "We need to talk." George takes her hand and stands up. "Where were you?" he asks. "Why did you leave me? I was worried sick." She looks at him with a sad expression. "George," she says softly, "you weren't dreaming. You were in a coma. 3 months, George. I never woke up," he whispers. "Yes, you did," she says. "We're awake now. That's all that matters." George looks at her and sees the sadness in her eyes. She's crying. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asks. "Tell you what?" she asks. "That I loved you." He tells her. She shakes her head slowly. "No, you don't remember, do you?" she says. "Of course not," George replies. "Who are you?" She looks at him sadly and steps closer. "I'm your wife," she says. "I'm your wife."